نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد بسم الله. Today we will continue from ayat number 44 of Surah Al-Qamar. أم يقولون نحن جميع منتصر, or do they say we are an assembly supporting each other? سيهزم الجمع ويولون الدبر, their assembly will be defeated and they will turn their backs in retreat. So with regards to this verse, it is narrated by Ibn Abbas in Bukhari. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said on the day of Badr, Allahumma anshuduka ahdaka wa wa'adaka, Allahumma in shi'ta lam tu'bad, فأخذ أبو بكر بيده فقال حسبك فخرج وهو يقول سيهزم الجمع ويولون الدبر. O Allah, I appeal to you to fulfill your covenant and promise. O Allah, if your will is that none should worship you, then Abu Bakr took hold of him by the hand and said, this is sufficient for you. The Prophet ﷺ came out saying their assembly will be defeated and they will turn their backs in retreat. So at the time of Badr, it was a very difficult moment. Prophet ﷺ made this dua and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for fulfilling his promise. And after making this dua, Prophet ﷺ came out saying this verse. So that's the moment of revelation for this verse. بَلِ السَّاعَةُ مَوْعِدُهُمْ وَالسَّاعَةُ أَدْهَى وَأَمَرُ. But the hour is their appointment for due punishment, and the hour is more disastrous and more bitter. So adha is ism tafdeel, means more disastrous, and amar means more bitter. إِنَّ الْمُجْرِمِينَ فِي ضَلَالٍ وَسُعُرٍ. Indeed, the criminals are in error and will burn. So su'ur in this context means burning fire. When it came before, another meaning in the surah of su'ur was madness or insanity. But here it comes in the meaning of burning fire. يَوْمَ يُسْحَبُونَ فِي النَّارِ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ ذُوقُوا مَسَّ سَقَرَ. The day they are dragged into the fire on their faces, it will be said, taste the touch of saqar. So the word yushabun means they will be dragged, and then saqar is another name of hellfire, and this is what the disbelievers and those who will be punished will be said to them, taste the touch of saqar. So they used to deny the punishment of hellfire. So when they will be thrown into it, it will be said to them, taste it, meaning understand how real this was, taste the punishment of it now. إِنَّا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. Indeed, all things we created with predestination. So the word qadr literally means to measure and to create something with a proper measure and proportion. This verse could be interpreted in both physical context and the theological context. So in the physical meaning, the verse states that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created every species wisely with proper measurement. Regardless of their overall body having different sizes and shapes, the proportion of the body parts is in relative importance of the need. So the shape of a tissue or organ is according to the function it performs. This can be true for the external characteristics as well as the internal makeup of all objects, whether living or non-living. In the theological context, qadr refers to taqdeer or divine predetermination. So the verse would mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything with a predetermined end. He knew everything that will occur in relation to that creation before it even happened, and hence when he created something, it can be considered to already have a predetermined end because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's infinite knowledge. We find many references of qadr, predestination, in a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah in Muslim. He says, جاء مشركو قريش يخاصمون رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في القدر فنزلت يوم يسحبون في النار على وجوههم ذوقوا مس سقر إنا كل شيء خلقناه بقدر. So Abu Hurairah states the mushrikeen of Quraysh came to have an argument with Allah's Messenger ﷺ in regards to destiny. And then this verse of Surah Al-Qamar was revealed. So this is confirming that the reference here is about taqdeer. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr bin Al-As, anhu in Muslim, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, كتب الله مقادير الخلائق قبل أن يخلق السماوات والأرض ب50 ألف سنة. Allah ordained the measures of quality of the creation 50,000 years before He created the heavens and the earth. For some people, the concept of taqdeer can be very pessimistic. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already predetermined what the outcome of my effort will be, or what will be my final abode, meaning paradise or hellfire, then what is the motivation to take any action or make any effort? But the fact is, there is a very powerful way to internalize the concept of taqdeer, a way that gives you a strength instead of demotivation and boosts your confidence rather than instilling regression. Narrated by Ibn Abbas anhu in Tirmidhi, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةَ لَوْ اجْتَمَعَتْ عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَمْ يَنْفَعُوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَضُرُّوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَمْ يَضُرُّوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامُ وَجَفَّتِ الصُّحُفُ. Know that if the entire creation were to gather together to do something to benefit you, you would never get any benefit except that Allah had written for you. And if they were to gather to do something to harm you, you would never be harmed except that Allah had written for you. The pens are lifted and the pages are dried. This is such an inspirational hadith. It encourages us to put our best effort forward in any action and takes away any fear of influence by others. The result is that a believer is neither pessimistic nor afraid. Now, at this point, you may think, what if someone puts his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for support, tries his best, and still does not get the expected outcome? This situation could easily lead to depression and even loss of self-confidence. He might regret his action or even question his belief. Look at how beautifully Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam devised a preventive measure to such a predicament, to the concept of taqdeer. Narrated by Abu Hurairah anhu in Ibn Majah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Ista'in billahi wa la ta'ajiz, fa in asabaka shay'un fala taqul law anni fa'altu kada wa kada, walakin qul qaddara Allah wa ma sha'a fa'ala, fa inna law taftahu amal ash-shaytan." Seek the help of Allah and do not feel helpless. If anything befalls you, do not say, "If only I had done such and such." Rather say, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ وَمَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. Allah has decreed, and whatever He wills, He does. For saying the word if, opens the door to the deeds of shaitan. So bottom line is the concept of taqdeer, qadr, predestination, elicits the best effort from a believer and brings forth the best outcome, and takes away the possibility of anyone feeling depressed or feeling afraid that someone else may influence his effort or result. وَمَا أَمْرُنَا إِلَّا وَاحِدَةٌ كَلَمْحٍ بِالْبَصَرِ. And our command is but one, like a glass of the eye. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need to repeat a command twice. Whatever He commands, it happens faster than the blink of an eye. That is, it happens immediately without any delay. As it comes in Surah Baqarah, ayat number 117, بَدِيعُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَإِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. When He decrees a thing, He merely says be, kun, and there it is. وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا أَشْيَاعَكُمْ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. And we have already destroyed your kind. So is there anyone who will remember? Ashya is a plural of Shia, meaning follower, or amthalahum fil kufr, similar to you in disbelief. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, we have already destroyed people before you who were similar to you in disbelief. So do you remember what happened to them and take heed from their outcome. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ فَعَلُوهُ فِي الزُّبُرِ, and everything they did is in written records. وَكُلُّ صَغِيرٍ وَكَبِيرٍ مُسْتَطَرٍ, and every small and great thing is inscribed. إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَنَهَرٍ, indeed the righteous will be among gardens and rivers. فِي مَقْعَدِ صِدْقٍ عِنْدَ مَلِكٍ مُقْتَدِرٍ, in a seat of honor near a most powerful king. So في مقعد صدق, meaning في مجلس حق لا لغو فيه ولا تأثيم, in a truthful gathering which has no useless discourse and no sin, that is in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who are honored in the hereafter. Let's quickly review summary of ayahs 44 to 55. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us everything has been created by a measure and with predestination. Allah's order is fulfilled immediately without any delay. He says kun as an example, and it happens. And all actions, big or small, are being recorded in the book of deed. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم.